We're very lucky to have Rebecca Flint here with us today to take us through the topic of branding and how to use Canva to create branded content. Rebecca is a senior community manager at Canva and has over 20 years experience in graphic design and branding, specializing in personal branding. Over to you, Rebecca.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be here today to be presenting in the Canva space. So today we're going to talk about how to create awesome branded content and how to use Canva to deliver that content. So as Jess mentioned, I'm Rebecca Flint. I am from Sydney, Australia. I have two little kiddies and I've spent the last 20 years in graphic design, branding, web design, and also specializing in personal branding. In that time too, we've also opened from scratch 3 separate gyms under our own brands. So I know what it's like to be a small business owner. Okay, so what is the difference between branding, brand, and brand ID? So often I'll have clients ring me up and they'll say, I need you to do my branding. And I'll say, okay. And I, start to talk about what branding is. And they very quickly sort of start to realize that what they're really asking for is just a logo. So people then therefore think their brand is a logo. And branding is putting that logo on stuff. And it is part of it. However, there is much more to it than just that. So if you look at this diagram here, your brand is made up of these 4 buckets, and your brand identity is what forms that last little bucket there. So your brand is made up of all of these different things. It's how people feel about your brand identity and your brand as a whole. It's your promise to your customer. It's your vision, mission, values, and purpose. And of course, it does make up part of it, which is your logo and your imagery and your typography and your messaging and all of that. So all of this comes in under brand. That last bucket is your brand identity or brand ID. So your brand represents the relationship that you or your company have with your target audience. And at the end of the day, it's what your audience or your customers think and feel about your service. And really, that's what makes up your brand. So if that's brand and brand identity, then what is branding? So branding is really just very simply the strategy that pulls all of those 4 buckets together. It's your plans, your goals, the little tasks that you do every day to make your entire strategy and your plan for your brand come together. And the key to successful branding is aligning what you think people think about your brand with what they actually do think. So essentially, it's an alignment of values and promises that leaves them feeling a certain way. So for example, if you think of Virgin Airlines, when you go and experience their product and their service and you come away from, say, being on a flight with them, you feel good. Inside the airplane is nice. They've got lovely lighting. The staff are young and friendly and often good looking. And, so all of that leaves you feeling a certain way about that particular brand. So you want to kind of focus on the way that your customers feel after having experienced your product or service. Now, there is a difference between personal branding and corporate branding. And I just want to, when I say corporate, I mean either corporate or small business branding. So when I say corporate, I don't mean necessarily big, huge corporations. They're just business or personal. And I'll just quickly go over this so that you can get a feel for whether your brand should be personal or business or corporate. So personal branding is positioning you, the person or the face, as the expert in your industry. And it really just helps you communicate the value of that brand to the world. Versus so that was a personal trainer, personal brand. This is an actual gym. This is actually one of my gym brands. So corporate branding is positioning the business as the industry leader, communicating its value to the world. So the business as a whole versus an actual person. So here's some examples or brand identity examples of corporate or business brands within the fitness industry. And you can see there that there's no face attached to those. They're just a simple identity that's used to communicate values to the world. Versus a personal brand where you can see you've actually got the face of the person and their name. And sometimes they'll have, some explanation about what it is or the value that that person brings to a product or service to the world. Now, you can build both. So within our gym, we have our overarching corporate brand, but within that brand, we have the personal brands of each of our trainers. So by developing the personal brands of a corporation or a business, you're adding that human element to your services and products. And it just really helps people connect with that overarching brand, which at the end of the day is just a set of values and a brand identity and a logo. So people really connect with people. So if you can think of a way to incorporate a personal brand into your overarching corporate brand, you will be able to connect with human beings on a more personal level. Once you've decided on the type of brand that you need, you can start to look at building out your brand identity. And at the foundation of building any good brand identity or brand or branding strategy, you need to know your audience. Now, you can take a screenshot of this if you like, but basically, if you work through these 6 areas, you will be able to get a very good snapshot about the type of person or the audience that you are targeting for your business. Now, why does this matter? Essentially, if you can get this right, you'll first of all be able to find the social media platforms that this audience is hanging out on. Just because you like Instagram doesn't mean your audience is hanging out there. So you need to make sure that any targeted marketing or any money you're spending or any time and effort that you're putting into your business is spent on a platform where your audience is actually hanging out. So that's one way. Another reason this is really important is so that you can find offline opportunities to market to your audience. You also really want to understand them at a deep level and find out what their pain points and their challenges are so that you can develop your messaging and when you're doing your copy or creating videos, that you're answering their problems and issues so that you're really helping them make a decision to come and join you over on your brand side and use your products and services to make sure that their problems are getting answered. So just having a really deep understanding, this is a very high level view. I spent hours and hours with my clients going through this, trying to figure out their audience. And you don't have to just have one audience type either. Sometimes we call this avatar as well, or your ideal custom audience. There's a few different names for this, but you can have 2 different avatars for your business. You might have male and female, or you might have older or younger. You might have in Australia and overseas. There's lots of different ways to build your avatar, but really getting this foundation right is going to mean that when you go into your brand identity development and you develop your brand, that it's going to be able to resonate with your audience and they'll be more attracted to your brand and hopefully buy your service or products. So once you've done that, then you can start to look into developing your brand identity. So when clients call me in my studio business, I do work for Canva full-time, I should say, but I still have a select few clients on the side. And when I get these phone calls and they say, I need a logo and I need a business card for next week, they've missed that entire foundational practice of really developing who their audience is and who they're talking to. And so just going out and banging out a logo and whacking it on a business card isn't going to bring you loads of clients. You have to do that work first. So your brand identity, which was that 4th bucket, and you can see it in the little graph there, is made up of your logo, your tagline, your colors, your imagery or photography, typography, so that's the font styles, and your messaging. And here's an example of that. So I've got on the left there, the logo and typography. You can see that we've chosen 2 different fonts for the typography. We've got a sans serif font in the word box. So sans serif means no little flicks, and serif means the fonts with those little flicks. So we've got a combination of a sans serif and a serif font, and it's been combined with that beautiful deer logo. So we've got the logo and the typography as part of this brand identity makeup. Our tagline for this brand is commit to be fit. We have a very simple color palette with 4 colors. Now we can also go and add in there some grays and some other shades of these primary colors. We've got our imagery or photography there. You can see there's a certain style that we've chosen for this brand. And brand messaging, which is a whole other exercise, and I highly recommend that you go and read Story Brand by Donald Miller. That is a phenomenal formula for extracting out and using the audience setup that I showed you earlier to come up with a really good formula and a plan for writing your messaging that is going to really connect with your audience. So there's 5 squares here, but there's 6 sections. So logo and typography, tagline, colors, imagery, and messaging. And this makes up our brand identity. So as you can see here, I've created some branded artwork using that brand identity. So if I just flick back here real quick, so you can take another snapshot in your mind, you can see that that brand identity fits really nicely in this branded artwork. And having got the audience and the brand identity right makes creating artwork super simple. And that's where Canva's amazing at helping you do this. Okay, so for the person who asked about brand guidelines before, there's really sort of 3 types of brand guidelines that you can use. And basically they are based on the size of your business. You don't really need to have excessive big 60-page brand guidelines if you're just a solopreneur. So I'll go through that now. So brand guidelines basically ensure that you have consistency across everything that you do. So if it's just you in your business, it's great to build out a brand board, which I'll show you in a minute. But if you have more than 2 team members, then you should probably have a bit bigger brand guidelines. And if you have multiple people in multiple places, you really need to ensure that you have a very consistent set of brand guidelines. So your brand guidelines will show you and your team how to use your logo, how to use your colors, how to use tone of voice, how your logo should sit on artwork. It brings in typography styles. It starts to kind of develop rules for how you can and can't use your logo, how you can't pull the logo apart and put it back together and things like that. So basically it's a very set of set and stringent rules, which makes sure that anybody that's creating artwork for your business stays on brand, basically. Okay, so let's have a look at some of these. So if you're just a solopreneur, I just recommend having a brand board. It's really simple. So you've got here your logo, you've got your colors selected, you've got your main fonts, possibly some little graphic elements that it's okay to use in your branded concepts, and of course your imagery. Now, this is what I call a brand guide cheat sheet. So when I design a brand identity package for somebody, I also hand over this logo style guide cheat sheet. And basically it shows the fonts and what they are and how they're used. So I'll often say, use this one in a heading or use this one on a website. And it just gives the the web designer a guide to what fonts they should be using on the website. It also breaks down each of the colors into PMS, if it's available, which is a Pantone matching system. And that's a universal matching system that will get your color correct anywhere in the world. And RGB, which is mainly for screen, and then hex or HTML, which is website and screen again, and then CMYK, which is mainly for print. So PMS colors and CMYK colors are used in print, and RGB and hex or HTML colors are used on screen. So on the right over here, you can see I have broken down the different types of logos that were available for this particular client. So they've got a colored one, a colored reverse, a black one, and a white one, showing how they can use their social profiles, and then also showing the clear space around a logo. So making sure that their logo always has a certain amount of space around it, so it's not cluttered up next to each other with another logo. Just want to kind of keep that consistency and that nice white space around it. Now, this is a bigger, this is like a $20,000 brand job. So you don't need to go and create this if you're a solopreneur, but you can see this has all of the rules for creating all of the artwork that anybody would ever need in this business. And I'll just play it again so you can have a really good look through that. So you've got the mission, vision, values, all of the different logo types. This is a very comprehensive guide, and it includes every single rule for how you can and can't do and say and place elements on a page and everything. And as a result, I actually saw the BX team at a conference recently, and I was so proud to see their setup because they had nailed it and they'd really used their brand guidelines and made sure everything was perfectly on brand. So it really works. However, if you're not a big business with multiple locations or multiple team members, you don't need something this comprehensive. Just keep it simple and have a brand guidelines cheat sheet, or even just a simple brand board. Okay, so let's see how Canva can help you with keeping your brand consistent across everything you design. Now, these are pre-recorded screen flows, and I'm going to take you through from setting up a brand kit right through to creating social media posts, scheduling them, and also showing how the presentation tool works. So this is using a pre-built fitness brand, a sample brand for a women's clothing brand for fitness. And so you'll get a really good idea of how Canva helps you stay on brand, and also we'll show you some of the cool features and tools that Canva has. And then at the end of this, I'm going to go back into the previous brand that I showed you, and I will show you from scratch how to do this as well. So we've got the brand kit here, and as you can see, I added the brand's logos to that top section there, and I was able to extract the colors to create a color palette. So this is a pro version of Canva, and it does allow you to add loads and loads of logos in. So you could have your main brand logos, and then if you've got any sub products or sub brands, you can load them in as well. You can have multiple color palettes, and we've just heard that you can actually have multiple brand kits. That's coming soon too. So that's really exciting. Now, if you have the free version of Canva, you don't get access to that top level of brand logos. You can add 3 colors to your color palette, and you can just choose some fonts in the brand fonts area. So it does give you the ability to use it a little bit, but you'll get full access to it as a pro member. Okay, so now you've set up your brand kit, you can go ahead and choose any one of our 270,000 templates on the free version, or over 400,000 on the pro version. Select any template, and then over on the left-hand side, you've got the styles button, and you can really simply just go and add your brand colors and your brand fonts with just the click of a button. So over on the left, we click our colors, and you can thumb through those colors to find something that looks really cool. One click to add your brand fonts, and then you edit your artwork. So within a few seconds, you have a beautifully branded social media post, which you didn't need to design. So it doesn't matter if you're not a designer, you can still use Canva to look awesome. Now, once you've designed your social media post, you can now publish directly to Facebook. So from within the platform, you can add your Facebook page and publish directly to Facebook. So you can do a PNG, which is a transparent background, a GIF, which is an animation, or an MP4, which is a video, which is really cool. So very quickly, you can design and post out a beautiful branded post. Not only Facebook, you can also design on your phone using our iOS or Android app, and you can post it directly out to Instagram, which is really cool. So you don't need to wait to get back to the office. You can do this on the go. So whatever you design on your desktop application is also available on your phone application as well, which is really cool. So once you've designed your post, you can post it to Facebook or post it to Instagram, and you've got a beautiful branded post ready to go. Now, this is a really cool tool, so I want you to pay a lot of attention to what's happening with the mouse here in this demonstration. So I'm presenting right now on Canva's presentation tool, and this is what I'm going to show you. So if you use PowerPoint or Keynote, and it absolutely does your head in like it does for me, now you can select from over 65 pre-built custom business templates for a presentation. So as you can see, with a couple of clicks, I just added this beautiful template. I'm going to use my styles tool to find a set of colors that I like. I'm quite liking this yellow one here. Now you can't see, but I'm going down the bottom there and pressing apply to all pages. So a couple of clicks to select my colors, add it to all the pages, Bob's your uncle. Once you've done that, you can go in and obviously edit your presentation, change the text. You can drag and drop new photos or videos onto the presentation. And of course, you can go back up to the top left there and select your brand fonts. So you can see here, I've added the logo to this presentation. I would then go and, like I said before, add in some photos that match my brand. So, you know, perhaps something like this. And add in another photo here. Now you can present straight from Canva. Up in the top right-hand corner there, you can see where it says present. You can also download this presentation and use it, say, on your membership site or as a lead magnet on your website. Or you can pre-record a presentation with your face in a little bubble and use that presentation for a pre-recorded or ever webinar. So it is a really, really cool time-saving trick and tip that we've now got in Canva. And I really want you guys to go and have a good play with this, because I promise you, you will never use those other awful, awful platforms again. So I'm only saying that because I absolutely hate designing in PowerPoint and Keynote. Like, they literally do my head in. And as soon as I saw Canva bring this out, I was so excited, and I've used it. I've created probably, I don't know, just maybe 20 presentations in the last few weeks, and it's so easy. And you can, also you can pre-record videos like I have done here, and you just simply drag and drop them onto your presentation, which is awesome. And you know what, I could talk about this all day, but I'm not going to bore you with it anymore. I'll get on to the next thing, but you can tell that I really love the presentation tool. We have loads of presentation tool videos as well if you go to our YouTube channel, and there's been some other webinars done in Canvas Space and Design School on the presentation tool as well. Now, some of these little features I'm going to show you are only available in the Pro section, Pro version of Canva. And the first one is, with one click, you can now remove the background of an image. So like this. Voila! There is no need to take your photos into another third-party platform and painstakingly deep-etch around them, save them to your desktop, bring it into another platform. You don't need to do that anymore. You just click almost any image, and one click and background's gone. We also have this really cool integration with smart mockups. So with one click, again, you can take your design or logo and add it to a picture frame, a mug. You can create a 3D mockup of somebody holding a card just like this. Like, it is such a cool tool. And as a designer, I used to spend hours and hours and hours mocking up designs for clients in other programs, and you just don't need to do that anymore. So you just add the Smart Mockups integration to your account, and then all of those options are there ready to go. So it makes it really cool to show people your artwork in a mocked up version. Okay, so once you've done, say, a social media post, you can very quickly change your design to be another size. So for example, here I've just chosen a poster. So Canva's very clever. It takes your artwork and resizes it as best as it can. And just with a few little alterations, you can just make your artwork purpose built for whatever the application is. For this, it's a poster. So you just saw there, with a few little alterations, I increased the size of the photo, I moved it a little bit, and I moved that chevron element over to the right. So a couple of clicks, and I've gone from a social media artwork to a poster artwork, and it's so easy. And you can do this for almost every single application you can think of. So you can do Instagram stories, you can create a presentation, you can put your artwork on some t-shirts. So there's lots and lots of different ways you can take one piece of artwork and very quickly create multiple pieces of artwork, which is so time saving in your business. Okay, now not only can you post directly to Facebook and Instagram, now you can actually schedule your content, which is so cool. So we have this new program called Content Planner, and you'll find that over on the left. And you can either pre-design a piece of artwork and then go and schedule it, or you can go into the Content Planner, select your date, then select a piece of artwork, or you can go into the Content Planner, select your date and create a new piece of artwork. So no matter how you want to do it, it's super flexible, and you can post any of the MP4s, GIFs, PNGs or JPEGs. So you can post them out to multiple platforms in advance. So automating saves loads of time in your business. And this is just showing how you select a pre-designed piece of artwork. And you can obviously add your captions and everything as well, and then schedule them on whatever date or time that you want to have that go out. Okay, this is a really great tool for two reasons. One, if you work with a graphic designer, you can both simultaneously be in the piece of artwork at the same time, so you can quickly approve something and get it done faster. Alternatively, you can work with your team members in your business to also collaboratively create artwork together, or perhaps you've got a junior, an admin person, and they want to create some artwork and it just needs your final tweaks and approval. So you can jump in there and make the corrections. You can add some comments. When you make a comment and you tag a team member, they'll get notified on that, and they can come back in and check that, and they can tick it off when it's done. So it's super easy. Okay, so now I'm going to take the Wild Buck Fitness brand identity and I'll build you a logo from scratch just to show you how you can do that in Canva. Then I'm going to design an Instagram post. I will resize it into a story. I will create a poster, and then I will do a quick demo on the presentation tool. But just before I get started, are there any questions? That's okay.
A couple of questions about Content Planner. Yep. For people that need to plan content for multiple clients. So can you use Content Planner as it is and publish to different companies' pages, or is it kind of locked into
one? Yeah, one branded company per account. Yeah. So at this stage, I'm sure, look, Canva is exploding and growing all the time, and I can't promise, and I don't know what's on their future roadmap, but at this stage, it's like, one Facebook account, one Instagram account per Canva account. So, yep.
Okay. And Josephine asked, can you schedule posting to both Instagram and Facebook at the same time? So I'm assuming you could do that. So just both posts go out at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday to two different platforms.
Yes, that is a good question. I believe you actually have to set them up separately. However, if you've got in your Instagram account that when something is posted to Instagram, it automatically posts to Facebook, that's one way you could get around that. But I believe at this stage, because Jess, as you know, the API only just opened up to Facebook and Instagram. So our functionality for those platforms at this stage is base level. And I can only imagine that it's going to grow and get bigger and better going forward. So,
and just confirming that the scheduler, once you've entered that post into the Content Planner, it's going to automatically post it at the set date and time.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, we've got a few more questions, a few more design related questions. So I might wait until after the live demo and come back to those.
Okay, cool. Now, so I am going to show you live how to do some cool stuff in Canva. Now you'll see it as it works. And you'll see me as a designer. So whilst I just showed you some really smooth and polished screen flows that looked beautiful, what you don't see is the thinking time and, the loading time in between pages and things like that. So you'll get to see in real time what it's actually like to build something out. Okay, so the first question was, how do I create a logo? So I am going to attempt to recreate the Wild Buck Fitness logo. I'm on the Canva dashboard. So as you log in, this is what you will see. So if I come across to here and just click on logo, you have, which is really cool, a whole bunch of pre-designed logos. So first and foremost, you could actually pick something that you like the look and feel of and just change it to your business name. One thing to note here, you can design whatever logos you like in Canva. However, because they are they sort of sit under the Creative Commons license, you can't trademark a logo that you design in Canva. So just keep that in mind. So if I wanted to, I could come across here and, you know, choose this one, for example, and just simply change the name and get rid of that and come across to elements. And I want to search for a deer. And this isn't the one that I chose, but I'm just showing you super fast how you could take a pre-existing templated logo and create a new one. Now, that's not the one that I want, but that is a pretty quick and pretty cool logo design. Now, you can, I will just create another page. Now, you can create different colored versions of the logo simply by removing the background that was already supplied. And already you've got a reverse logo and a black logo, which is really cool. But I want to show you how I created the Wild Buck Fitness logo. So I'm going to go back to home, come back to logo. And at the same time, I'm just going to open my brand board so that I've got my fonts here. So I've got Playfair Display and Hammersmith one there, my brand fonts. Okay. So if I go to the text tool on the left here, again, you've got some pre-loaded font styles, which are really cool. If you're not a designer, feel free to start with one of these. However, I am just going to start just with some plain text. So all I've done there is just press the T button while I'm on the canvas there. Okay, so my top font is Playfair. My middle font is Hammersmith. And then I've got Playfair. Okay. Now, you can have all your text in one box like this. However, I actually find that when I'm doing logo design, it's actually easier to have separate text boxes so that you can be a little bit more flexible with your design. Now, when I pasted that out then, I actually lost my Hammersmith font, which, you know, it just happens. So okay, so I've got three really nice pieces of text here. Now I want to have everything left aligned. So I'm selecting everything. I'm coming up to my alignment panel and I'm going to click through that so you can change all of your alignment, but I want to make sure it's all left. And then if I come up to position, I want to align it all left. And I'd like the word buck to be quite a bit bigger. I want fitness to sit directly under that. And then I just want the word wild to be a little bit smaller. Okay. So there's my font styling. That looks quite nice. Now, if I come across to elements, I want to look for that deer shape that I used in the logo. Now, oh, here it is. How good was that? So quick. Okay, now, I actually, when I did mine, I actually did quite a lot of custom kind of fitting of the text and everything, but I'm just going to do this super fast so that I'm not taking up too much of you guys' time. Okay, so there we have a really nice logo. Now I'm just going to have a quick look at I've got the aqua. Okay. Now, if you have a color that you like somewhere else that you want to use in your logo, you can just paste it onto the page so that when you select your fonts, that color is recognized in the document fonts. Okay, so that's very quickly how you build a logo in Canva. Now that has a no color in the background. So if I download this, I could download it as a PNG, which will have a transparent background. A JPEG will put a white background in. A PDF, I think we'll put a transparent background in, but if you want a transparent background, I highly recommend using a PNG. However, to build our brand kit, we actually need to download our logos as an SVG file. You can put in PNG and JPEGs, but for the best quality, I highly recommend an SVG file. So I would go ahead and click to download that SVG. Now I've already done that to save time. So say we take this logo and it's on a white background, and then I go ahead and create some other options where it's on a black background, and we have the logo reversed. I might go and create a white logo, an all black logo, and so on and so forth. Now I've already done this, so I'm just showing you how you do it in Canva, and now I'm going to show you how to take your downloaded SVGs and create your brand kit. So again, when you're back here on the dashboard, if you come over here to brand kit, and then you can call it your brand. Okay, and then you simply just add your logo. So if I click the plus button there, I've already gone and designed and downloaded all of those logos. So they're SVG files, and they're going to upload into the platform with a transparent background. Now, of course, you can also download them as JPEGs if you want to have a set that have those backgrounds on them. But when you're designing, if you bring one of these transparent logos onto your artwork, it will just sit on whatever's behind. So a white background, black background, a photo, whatever it is you've got in there. Okay, so they've all loaded really nicely. Now I have my brand board, which has my color values on it, which is super handy. If you're working with a designer, make sure you get these from your designer before you build out your brand kit. Now, if you don't have one of these, I'm going to show you a tricky trick. So if you come up to your logos and go extract color palette, there we go. Okay, so it's actually looked at the colors in this logo and it's chosen these ones. Now I'm going to keep that, but I can just see that this logo here is slightly, this color here is slightly off black, and I don't really need that. So far we've got our black, our turquoise, and then I can just go in and manually add a color, but I want white and I want gray. Now I've got my color value here. If I come across and just copy that, I can just paste that in like that. And now I just want that kind of lime, yellowy green as well. And there we have it. So if your logos have all your brand colors in them, then you can just extract the colors from your logos. But if you have some secondary colors like I do in this brand, then make sure you're copying them from your brand board or your style guide cheat sheet or your brand guidelines, and you can bring them straight into the brand kit. Now, you can add secondary color palettes as well. You can also discover new color palettes that Canva pre-builds for you if you want to have, like a sub-brand and you haven't had a designer work on that with you. And then we're going to come over here and add in our brand fonts. Now, if I refer back to my brand board again, we've got Playfair Display, Hammersmith one, and Hammersmith one as a body font. So I'm going to just click the little pencil and then look for Playfair Display, and then Hammersmith, and body is also Hammersmith. Now, if you have a brand that has specific brand fonts that you've purchased, you can upload them directly into Canva. You must make sure you own those fonts. You can't go and just rip off somebody else's fonts and upload them into Canva. It's illegal and you could get in a lot of trouble. So now our brand kit is set up and that is looking pretty awesome. So I want to come back to the dashboard and I want to build out something that is with some of these designs that I've created before. So to just make life easier, I'm just going to open this up and then we're going to pretend it doesn't exist. So, okay, so I need to create a 2-week free promotion. So I'm going to come over into elements. I'm going to look for CrossFit style photos. So I type in CrossFit and then, oh, look, there's the photo. Okay, so I just click and when I click it, it adds it to the page. Now you can do that or you can drag and drop and it will fill out the whole background, which is pretty cool. Okay, now you would have your copy from your copywriter or you would have written it previously somewhere else in notes or in Word. So now you just kind of want to either write directly onto the page or get your copy and paste it. So we've got get 2 weeks free on us. So I tap the T tool and I get 2 weeks free on us. Okay. Now I want to make sure that that middle font is my Hammersmith one. Okay, now we're going to go to our logos and add a logo. So because I uploaded it into my brand kit, I have the logos available to me. Okay. Okay, get started, click link in bio. Okay. Okay, so just adding in some more text. I want this to be Hammersmith and I want it to be my lime green color. Now, when I click on colors, you can see I've got my document colors here. Alternatively, you can go to the styles tab, which I showed before, and you can just click through. Oh, yeah. Click through and it will actually change some of the elements on your page. Okay, so I'm just going to put that white logo back in, just showing you how that styles tab works. Okay, then we've got our tagline, which is commit to be fit. Now I'm going to just copy that font to save time. Okay, and then I want to grab just a little rectangle to just put behind that tagline just to create a little bit of interest. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so I can get a little bit more detail. Sometimes with this rectangular tool, it only goes to a certain height, so you have to kind of manually adjust it a little bit. Okay. Right, so pretty quickly, just delete that original. Pretty quickly, we have designed an on-brand social media post, adding the logo and the colors that are all from our brand kit. Now, what I would encourage you to do is make sure you name your files each time you design something, because it can get very confusing when you have 20 tabs open across the top of the screen. So now that our social media post is done, you can obviously go ahead and share that out straight away. Or if you're planning this for a future date, you can just leave it in Canva and schedule it out later, or pop it in the content planner. But for now, I'm going to take this and I want to change it into an Instagram story. So I just click Instagram story. Now there's loads of preset sizes here for all sorts of things, from stickers to presentations and newsletters and email banners and Facebook covers and everything you could possibly need in there. But for the moment, I'll just click Instagram story. The alternative is, if you have an exact size of something that you want to create, you can just put it in custom size there. Now, if I press resize, it's going to resize this piece of artwork. I don't want to do that because I want to keep it for a later date. So I'm going to go copy and resize. Now you can see Canva has very quickly and easily resized this for me. And all I have to do is just make a few little alterations. Now this is an Instagram story, so you might change the to say swipe up to get started or something like that. Okay. And then I want this tagline to be a little bit bigger. And there you have it. So super fast. I now have an Instagram story. Again, with Instagram stories, you have to download it and upload it to Instagram stories directly. At this stage, you can't publish to stories yet, but hopefully that will come soon. Okay, so I'm going to now take this and resize. Oh, sorry, I forgot. I did this one thing I told you not to do. Instagram story. Let's say June, so we know what month it's for. Okay, now we can go and resize that, and I want it to be a poster. So I'm going to search for poster, copy and resize. And look, it's like I nearly don't have to do anything. It's so cool. Might just increase the size of this text. Now, one thing I do want on my toaster is have a QR code. Use the QR code to get started. Okay, now this is really cool. If you come across here and you go to the More panel and go to QR code, you could put in the landing page URL for your business. So let's just put in www.landingpage.com.au, generate code, and it does a QR code for you, and it does it in such a way that you can have it on any background because it uses the black and white solid box, which is really cool. So you could just resize that and you're good to go. Now you can print directly from Canva and you can have your posters delivered directly to your door, which is so cool. Alternatively, you can download it as a PDF print version or a low-res version if you want to email it. You can obviously do JPEGs, PNGs, SVGs, et cetera, as well, but you can print from Canva, which is super cool. Okay, so the last thing I want to do is show you how to create one of those beautiful presentations, which is going to make you look so damn good when you present for your business. So I don't know if you saw me do that, but I'll go back and start again. So from the home page, just press presentations. Now, if you are looking for one of those specific business templates that I spoke to you about earlier today, search business presentations, because we have 75 built out presentations specifically for business. And what I mean by that is these have graphs and like all the cool stuff you need in business to present boring information in a really nice way. So, for example, let's just choose a nice one that matches kind of like this. So when you click into it, you get a thumbnail view of all of the different pages. And if this looks good, if it's got the type of information and the sort of the layout of the text that you might like in your presentation, and you're pretty happy with that, go ahead and press apply all 15 pages. And you can see there that it's built out the entire presentation. Now you could go in then and go, well, actually, I don't really need that page and I probably won't use that page, and so on and so forth, and get it down to the size and the type of information that you want in this presentation. Now, because you've set up your brand kit, you can come across to the styles button here and start to thumb through the shuffle and find a style that you quite like. Let's say we like that one. And then you come down here and press apply all pages. Now, did you see how it just styled out all of my pages? It's so cool. And then you can change it to your brand fonts and apply that to all of the pages. And pretty quickly, you've got a styled and branded proposal that all you need to do is go and add in, say, your logo. That was not a good example. Let's try again. Okay, maybe I don't want that in there. Go and add my logo. Add in some branded images. Go and add your text. And so on and so forth. So super quickly, you can have a really beautiful built out presentation. You can present directly from Canva. I'm using the presenter view at the moment, which means I have a split screen. You can also do an autoplay one where it just plays and you just simply talk over the top. And you can just present just the screen that you're on as well. But you can also present and record. So if I press this, it will bring up my face in a little circle, and I can present and record the presentation to deliver at another time.
Yes? Rebecca, can you record a presentation without having your head as a little circle?
Yes, I think, just correct me if I'm wrong, but we have voice presentations either coming or it has been rolled out to some users.
Yes, I'm not sure if it's yet, but that's a really, really useful thing.
Yeah, so that's it for my demo. So does anybody have any specific questions around creating a logo, resizing, presentations, brand kit, anything like that?
So we do have some questions around the extracting the colors for in your brand kit.
Okay.
Does the file that you extract the colors from have to be an SVG, and does it have to be created in Canva?
Pretty sure it has to be an SVG for it to pick up the exact color values. If, as a designer, I create you a logo in Illustrator, for example, and I use a PMS color, but I save it as a JPEG, it's going to transform those colors from a PMS into what the computer thinks is the right color values for an RGB file. So if I bring a JPEG in and I use the color extraction, it might just be slightly off. Even using that color extraction as a designer, I would still go back and check my brand guidelines to check that that little hex color value, the little hashtag with the 6 numbers after, numbers and letters, is correct. So you really want to make sure that that is correct so that when people are viewing it on different screens, that it's on brand for your brand.
Super, thank you. Now, one more question from Wambui, color psychology. So this is really interesting. Beck, do you know about the canva.com/colors?
Yes, I was just about to go there.
Awesome. So Wambui is asking, if I search fun under photos, I get fun photos, but can I search for, say, fun colors and know what colors I should use? So here is an amazing tool.
Yeah, so go to canva.com/colors and you have access to loads of different cool stuff. So you've got color palette ideas or color palette generators. Let's come in here. So you can upload an image and it will extract the colors from that image for you, like this, for example. So if you're really liking Okay, so here's a tip. So when I'm doing people's personal brands, the first thing I say is send me a photo of your wardrobe, because often the colors that people wear are their favorite colors. And so what you can do is take that take that photo, load it into Canva here, and it will extract out the colors for you, like this image here. So if you had a really fun image, like you said, you typed in fun and you found some really cool fun images, if you like the colors in that photo, upload it here and it will be able to generate a beautiful color palette for you. So that's one way you could do it. Alternatively, you could come into color palette ideas here and just do fun, and it will just give you some pre-built out color palettes. I mean, that's really cool. I like that. That's really nice and bold and fun. But then I like pink. So the other thing you've got to think of too is, if you're building a corporate or a business brand, you really want to attract a certain audience. You want the color palette and the logo style and design to match your audience's likes. However, when you're building a personal brand, generally the brand is around you and what you like and what you feel, and then you want to attract people who are like-minded, so they're most likely going to like what you like as well. So just a little tip around picking colors. But yeah, there's some really cool ways to be able to use what's already available rather than having to make it up yourself.
Wambo is also asking, is it too cluttered to have a tagline in a logo? Would you just have more of a symbol?
Yeah, this is a big conversation to have. So how can I simplify this? Okay, if your logo doesn't say what you do, say your business is called Octagon, that doesn't tell me what you do. So your tagline might be solutions for finance business owners or something like that, or we make design fun, or, you know, like whatever it is that you do. So use a tagline if it's necessary. If it's not necessary and your logo really clearly explains what it is and what you do and who you're attracting, then you don't really need to have a tagline. I'm not a massive fan of using taglines. Some of my branding clients insist on them, and so therefore I make sure that they are easily used in the designs we create, like that Wild Buck Fitness example that I showed you. We had the tagline on the artwork, but it didn't sit with the logo. So really it's a case by case kind of answer there, I suppose. So it just depends how clearly you need to communicate what it is that you do, or the brand promise that you have, or the result you'll achieve, you know. So yeah.
Where would you situate authors? A personal brand or a corporate brand, or both?
Oh, that is such a good question. So I definitely think building a personal brand around that. However, authors also often then sit with the publisher's brand as well. And that's a really good example of how, when I showed you that gym one before, you've got the overarching corporate brand, so say the publisher, and then using the personal brands to build the credibility of that overarching brand. So I think if you're an author, I would definitely focus on working on building your personal brand first and foremost. And then if it sits underneath another brand, by all means, work on that simultaneously, but focus mainly on the personal brand.
So one that's been asked a little bit earlier on was about the name of the book you recommended for brand messaging. Could you let us know what that was?
Story Brand by Donald Miller. And so he's got a book, but he's also got a course, and I think he can do some pretty intensive workshops as well. But start with the book. I did. That's where I learned everything from. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Following on from the question about the author, whether it was a corporate or a personal brand, a question from Wambui about how do you do personal branding when you have fingers in a lot of pies? So you might have, you know, a lot of side hustles that you also want to brand for yourself.
I mean, that's me. You know, whilst I work full-time for Canva, I still have my graphic design studio on the side, specializing in branding and personal branding. We own the gyms as well. So often I will badge myself as an entrepreneur who specializes in branding. I try not to pigeonhole myself into the fitness industry at all. However, it really helps, like today, you know, demonstrating brands, it really helps to kind of sometimes bring some of those skills together. But I think first and foremost, figure out which genre you kind of sit in the most. So I don't know, if you're a builder in the construction industry and you also do development sites, but then you also own a cafe, you know, I would kind of put yourself in the entrepreneur space with specialist skills in construction and small business ownership or something like that. So I also recommend then, if you're speaking at an event, you just tailor your positioning of yourself to the audience of that event. And second to that, you only say yes to opportunities that are in alignment with building one of your specialist areas. So it is a little tricky. And I spent years and years and years kind of mulling over this. And the simplest way to put it is either just pick one thing and do that, or if you want to do all of them, then you need to find some common ground and position yourself as an entrepreneur or a you know, restaurant building specialist or whatever it is that you specialize in. So I hope that is helpful.
Thank you. Lovely comments coming through. So I do have one last question actually, which is, can you show again how to do a global change for fonts in a presentation? So
yes,
you've got a presentation, just apply all to all slides.
1 second. Right, here we go. Yep, okay, cool. So go to presentations. I choose a template. I come across to styles, and you have your brand kit fonts already loaded up in here. So you just simply press that and go apply all pages. So it's the apply all pages, which is the time saver because it puts it on everything. Now, if you have a free version of Canva, you don't get access to your brand fonts in this section, but Canva will give you preset fonts and colors, and you get them here as well in Pro. So if you're say you need to design a presentation for your kids' school and you don't have brand kit loaded in here, but you want something kind of cool, and you know, perhaps maybe this color palette and this font system is similar to your school's look and feel, you can just use one of the pre-selected ones as well. You don't have to use your own brand kit. So yeah, you can see there that that's gone and applied the fonts and colors to the entire presentation. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that's great. So helpful for productivity, doing that quickly.
Yes.
And Marie just snuck in one last question. Yeah. How many fonts can you have in your brand kit?
Good question. The most I've loaded is about 9, but they were from the same family. So when you're building out a brand, don't have 9 different fonts. Have, you know, 2, maybe 3 maximum. Like you might have a serif, sans serif, and then a handwritten font that you use occasionally. But within those main primary fonts, like so say I have Playfair Display and Hammersmith one in this particular one, there might be fatter versions or skinnier versions. So you might want to add in those different weights so that you have different heading styles and heading, subheading, body bold, you know, things like that. So yeah, maybe maximum 3 font families, but you can obviously have as many of the family members of those fonts uploaded. So yeah, I think I've had 9 or 10, but I'm pretty certain you can have more than that. So I don't know the capped number though. So give it a go, see how many you can do.
Spectacular. Thank you so much. We'll wrap it up for questions there.
So welcome.
So I'd like to say a huge thank you to you, Rebecca. That was a truly awesome session with so much Canva goodness and productivity tips and tricks. So it was a really, really useful practical session. Thank you.
You are so welcome.
Yeah, looking forward to having you back for another session in the not too distant future. Bye.